the way that I don't know, young boys, young men experience emotion, and is it the inability to even acknowledge that they are feeling a way that they've kind of programmed in their head that, oh, I shouldn't feel this way, I should be, strong and masculine and man up? Do you think that it's an inability to sit with that is being detrimental to the mental health of young men?
I think that's a great reflection, and this kind of distinction is partly what draws my curiosity to the psychology of men and masculinity, because it's this distinction between like an external and internal world. Um, so I went to a jiu-jitsu class once, and I say once because it absolutely blew my mind. Maybe I'll come back to it in later life, but not now. It's like human chess. It's absolutely amazing.
It's great. I've also been once. It's
Yeah, yeah. Not quite yet. Maybe when you have more time to dedicate to it. It's so complicated, isn't it? But I was just amazed, in particular, because I guess kind of male dominated in spaces in some ways. This particular class I went to was anyway. I was amazed at the strength and resilience of these men to put themselves through kind of physical pain and, like I said, this external discomfort. And when we got kind of chatting about internal states, emotions, thoughts, feelings, it was this real distinction between they kind of mastered this external world. When it came to tolerating the discomfort of their internal world, there was huge avoidance. And that really blew my mind, because I feel like I'm kind of the opposite way wired. It's like I feel like I'm quite able to sit and tolerate unpleasant thoughts and feelings when it comes to my internal world. But in terms of external pain and discomfort, I've been trying cold showers and I'm up to about generally 15 seconds. Like, can't tolerate it. So it's this kind of difference. I was absolutely blown away by the amount of stress they put their bodies through in this external kind of world. But when it came to tolerating that same stress and discomfort internally, it was terrifying. And I think as a psychologist, when you're working therapeutically with people, you are asking an awful lot of them to delve into that internal world and come to terms with some of these thoughts and feelings that absolutely knock you off your feet. That's part of what we do in a kind of a therapeutic process. It's this concept of like a window of tolerance. It's like the amount of stress and distress you are able to tolerate before becoming overwhelmed. And just sitting with your emotions and allowing yourself to feel them is a huge part in this process. If you ever see someone on the verge of tears, you can physically see in action the way that they avoid that. And allowing yourself, and it's not about becoming overwhelmed with the emotion and being kind of taken over by it, but it's about allowing yourself to experience it. It's like a wave. It has a peak, it has a kind of climax, and then it troughs at the end. And allowing yourself to feel that full spectrum and that full wave of the emotion takes a hell of a lot of strength and resilience. And it's something that I think is completely underrated.
Do you think in the same way as the in terms of the physical world, say a man, I don't know, in his 20s or 30s goes to jiu-jitsu, um, they're able to put themselves in that voluntary discomfort and put themselves into very challenging scenarios. I've lost my train of thought slightly, but um, oh no, I've completely lost it. That's really annoying. I was like trying to kind of relate um, how if you were to frame emotions in the same way to that person as it is in the physical space, like, do you think they'd be more like receptive to it? There's something I was like trying to get at. It's just completely gone. But
No. I think you articulated that well. And if I'm on that same stream of thought, this will make sense. If not, maybe I've missed the point. Um, I think there's something to be said for making thoughts and feelings more tangible. We said before about like men are more kind of drawn to machines, women are more drawn to people. That kind of brash distinction that isn't accurate, but it kind of works. And when we're talking about thoughts and feelings, because we can't physically see them, the language around it can feel quite fluffy. It's hard to grasp. It's hard to know, like, what do you actually mean when you say that? What does that mean in like a physical sense? in particular, when it comes to thoughts, I like to think about like what a thought actually is. I mean, every thought has an electrical signal and it has a chemical component. So thoughts have a very physical basis. We can literally see them in the brain if we look at kind of MRI scanning. This is with the development of AI, artificial intelligence. We are like every day we are having kind of revelations in the brain and the way that the brain works, to the point where there's a form of AI where you can literally kind of take an image from a brain scan, take the signaling of the thought, and translate that into an image. So we can see physically as technology develops that thoughts have a very tangible basis to them. So people tend to not take their thoughts, I guess, very seriously because they think, oh, it's just a thought. But we know that every thought has this physical basis to it. So the way that you think is very important and it has a physiological effect. So it's one thing kind of thinking about changing your thoughts and paying attention to your thoughts in terms of the what, but I think people need to know the why that's important in order for them to kind of put it into just practical steps. Absolutely.